What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today, you already know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the new NASCAR 2020 schedule. Be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you are new, and if you enjoy this and you want to see more NASCAR news, content, stuff like that, NASCAR E3, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Also, check out Side Job Podcast this Friday at 8 p.m., where me and Kale will be going kind of another full breakdown, and just kind of, maybe a little argument might go down. Who knows? But anyways, first of all, we're going to break this into two parts. The first part is just going to be me reading off the schedule, and there are a couple things I do need to explain what's going on, and maybe give a little comment. And then the second part is just me highlighting the biggest changes of the schedule. So if you guys do enjoy, once again, make sure you like. Let's get right into it. So first of all, here is the new schedule. It's going to start with the Clash and the Duels, and then the Daytona 500. No biggie. Then Atlanta is no longer the second race of the season, as that is now Las Vegas. And they go through the West Coast swing, switching Auto Club and ISM backwards. So it's Las Vegas, Auto Club, and ISM. Then we go to Atlanta, and I think the reason they really did this is recently, the racing, it's been good. But the weather, it's kind of been iffy. I think 2 years ago, it was last season, the race was actually almost rained out, and it was just all borderline and stuff like that. So it's always good to move an East race back as far as you can put it, closer to the summer where it's not going to be as rainy or as cold. Moving on, Homestead is no longer the championship race and is now after Atlanta. This is another one that's kind of like, yeah, you're in the East, but again, it's a warmer area, and the only thing I think you'd really have to worry about is rain. After that is Texas in its usual slot, Bristol in its usual slot, and then there is an off week. I'm assuming that is Easter or something like that. Then we head on to Richmond in the same slot, and then Talladega in the same slot, Dover same slot, and then Martinsville night race. We have been asking for a Martinsville night race for it seems like forever now, and they have given it to us, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Now the All-Star race is May 16th. I think that's what it would have been anyways, and then the Coco 600 is on Memorial Day Sunday once again. Kansas is now after Charlotte. I think that's the same as again. I don't know why I said now. And then Michigan and Sonoma. So there's not much changes, little subtle changes here. And now here in the second part is where we get into the good stuff. Chicagoland, Pocono, and then Pocono. All right, so Chicagoland stays the same, but Pocono is now on Saturday and Sunday of the same weekend. Now, basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to duplicate the doubleheader system that they have at Detroit in IndyCar racing. Now, I don't know. I'm not complaining. I don't think Pocono is the worst track they could have picked for this, but I think it definitely could have been a better track, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Moving on, Indianapolis is now on July 4th weekend, which is another thing I'll get into later. I'm a little bit critical on this. Kentucky is now the same time it was last year, and then New Hampshire the same. And now we have 2 off weeks. Basically, the reason for there being 2 off weeks, July 26th and August 2nd, is because of the Olympics. So I don't know if that means that the Pocono doubleheader, I believe that's why there is a Pocono doubleheader. That means if we're just going to have a doubleheader every 4 years when there is an Olympics, or if that is going to be a yearly thing. So do keep in mind, they could have just done that because the Pocono races are both pretty close to each other, and then there is the Olympics, so they just wanted to have that 2-week break. And then once we go back to no Olympics during this time, then we might just go back to not having a doubleheader. Who knows? That could be the reason why they have a doubleheader in there, but I'm not in NASCAR, so I wouldn't know if they were just trying to do it for 1 year or if that is actually going to become a thing. I would definitely expect them to keep it at 1 doubleheader per season, 2 at the most. And continuing on, Michigan, Watkins Glen, Dover, pretty much the same. Actually, no, Dover, was it in the championship or the playoffs last year? I'm not sure about that. You have to fact check me on that. And then Daytona is the regular season finale. Holy crap, there is going to be a whole bunch of fights from fans and then diehard fans about this, and I'll get into that in a little bit later. Now we head on to the playoffs, and Darlington is the opening race. I think Darlington is a perfect opening race. It is a skill-based track. It's fun racing and should be a great race to watch. And it really is, like I said, skill-based, which is pretty good. Richmond and Bristol make out the rest of round 1. Richmond, I believe it was there. I think it was in the playoffs, and it was there last season, so not much to talk about there. We already know what we want to get from that. Bristol night race is now the cutoff race. I've wanted the Bristol night race in the playoffs for a while now, and this is definitely an interesting, kind of wild card spot for it. Now moving on to round 2, Las Vegas now the first race of round 2, and then Talladega and the Charlotte Roval make up the ending of round 2. This is very interesting, and then once again, like I said, I'll get into it a little bit later. Kansas and Texas make up round 3, and Martinsville will be the cutoff race. Once again, like I said earlier, Martinsville, a wild card race to end off, just much like Bristol, is now another wild card race, and yeah, Charlotte Roval as well, another wild card race to end off the round. And then the championship is at ISM Raceway November 8th. So that's definitely very interesting indeed. My thoughts on the ISM, I think it's kind of the same like I said at Pocono. They could have picked a better track for it. They didn't. They definitely could have picked a worse track for it. ISM, it's not a mile and a half. It's not going to be. They know there's going to be interesting racing. I mean, the race this year was very interesting. So they know they're going to get an interesting race out of it, and I believe it's a pretty good fuel strategy play. So you could see some of that play in, and there's just a lot of. It's an interesting race, and ISM is a track, a lot of money invested into it. So it's good to see. I guess that's a good reason to put it in there at the championship slot. Again, there's probably going to be a battle amongst diehard fans and just fans on that one. So here we go. Here we are on to our kind of highlight reel, or I guess just the highlights of the schedule change and what I think about it. And I really do think after seeing some reactions, I'm going to have to make a video regarding the playoff system, regarding just really everything about NASCAR today, and what the fans, why the fans are, I don't know. I'll make a video later on in life, probably next week, about it. It's just kind of, I can't really put it in this video, but be sure to stay tuned for that. ISM Raceway is now the championship race, and I think it's not the worst. I mean, I said that earlier. It's not the worst race that you could have put there, and it's not the best race you could have put there. There's probably better races, but I think for the championship race, I think you need to have like kind of a rotation of races. I think Kevin Harvick was the one who said this. I think that's really a great idea. Maybe 2 years you do the championship at ISM, then move it to another venue like Charlotte or Atlanta, or just another track. And yeah, I think that's a really good option there. So then you don't have Homestead for 15 years, and not against Homestead. It was a pretty good race, but I feel like ISM is going to be a better race, a better championship race than Homestead was. So hopefully that I'm right. I mean, I'm just looking to be entertained, and I just want to see some good racing. But I think it should be interesting. And if we get a last lap restart, oh my gosh, that's going to be crazy. Especially for the championship, it's going to be crazy. It really is. And then moving on, now we got Daytona. Moved to the regular season final. Of course, people are complaining about it now being the regular season final because it's not a Richmond, where it's not. It doesn't take as much skill as Richmond, and it's not a mile and a half. It's not a skill-based track. It is a Daytona, a restrictor plate track, and it's been moved from being a wild card in the middle of the season to a wild card at the end of the season. So moving on, Pocono is now a doubleheader. Now I am actually critical about this one. I'm not critical about the first two, but I am very critical about this one, and it's not the doubleheader part, except they probably should make it a shorter race if you're going to make drivers do 2 races 2 days in a row. I mean, there's going to be somebody that passes out or something like that. I mean, that's a lot for a driver to handle. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle the drivers, but that's just a lot of work. Anyways, moving on, as I was saying, I think Pocono is probably not the best track for this. And like I said, it could be just because of the Olympics, and then we go back to a normal no doubleheader schedule. But I don't complain about the doubleheader part, but I think you go to another track other than Pocono. Moving on, Bristol at the playoff cutoff race, and then Charlotte, Roval, and Martinsville are now all cutoff races. And all of them are wild card races, so I bet you diehard fans out there are literally shitting your pants right now. Like, oh, there's so many wild cards. And the second round is going to probably be the most interesting round out there, because you have Talladega and the Roval in the same round, and Las Vegas. So at Las Vegas, everybody's going to bring a fast car, because they know Talladega nor the Charlotte Roval are sure things, and if they can get a win at Las Vegas, they don't have to worry about having to perform well at the other two tracks. So that's definitely going to be a very interesting round, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. Of course, God, we have another year and a half basically until this all plays out. Bristol and the first round, I really like the first round. I really like that one as well. It should be interesting. You got a lot of historic tracks in there and pretty skill-based tracks. And then the final round, Martinsville, the cutoff race, another wild card going into the ISM Championship. Should definitely be interesting to see. Indianapolis is now on the July 4th weekend, which is a lot of fun to me. I'm just kidding. How did I just say fun with Indianapolis? Holy crap. Indianapolis, I think that was a very bad move for them. I don't know what track they should put there. I mean, hopefully they move that and they just couldn't think of a track to put there. But the racing there is very boring. I mean, it's boring. It really is boring. I can't remember a race that's been fun to watch genuinely, and hopefully this does not stay for long, because July 4th is probably a pretty good weekend for NASCAR in terms of people tuning on the TV with family watching the race. So hopefully that changes pretty soon. And for me at least, as a short track fan, for me the biggest thing is Martinsville night race. Holy crap, I've been wanting this ever since Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin's fight. I guess it wasn't really a fight, but that incident happened. Ever since then, I have been wanting this race, because that race was under the lights due to, I'm not really sure what happened. I think it just really took a long time, and it happened to go, there might have been a delay. I'm not sure what happened, actually, now that I think of it. But that is definitely my favorite thing about this new schedule, and I don't think anybody can say no to that unless you're just a huge mile-and-a-half fan. I don't know how you could be, by the way. Shout out to you. You have a lot of, grit, but yeah, and that's really it for the big things that happened. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts. And once again, I'm going to go full in depth. I think there's probably a couple stuff that I held back, and I think I might even go into rant mode. I think the Slide Job Podcast episode 8, I believe, is definitely going to be an interesting episode. I think I might go into rant mode, so make sure to go check that out this Friday. And I'm kind of thinking it might be an interesting one, so be sure to be there. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit that notification box to actually I won't make you. If you want to see when my videos come out, hit that. But if you don't have to, just watch. I don't care. Just watch whenever. But yeah, that's all I got. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.